What is up, guys? So it's been a hot minute since I've talked about professions on this channel, and I thought it was time to talk about fishing to show you guys how important this profession actually can be in TBC Classic. And for those of you who are planning to have dual crafting professions in TBC and not use mining/herbalism to farm gold, you can actually farm a lot of gold simply by using fishing, which is the tertiary profession that everyone can grab, so there's literally no excuse not to grab fishing. So let's go through a couple of the essential information first. There are 8 different types of pools or schools in Outland, all scattered throughout different zones. You have the Sporefish School, which can be found in Sangremarsh, where you can fish up Sangarian sporefish. Sangarian sporefish can be further cooked into blackened sporefish, which is a type of food that increases your mana regeneration. Brackish Mixed School can be found in Sangremarsh and Terracar Forest, and fishing in these pools will give you golden darters and spotted felltail. Golden darters can be cooked into golden fish sticks, which is a great food resource for healers. Spotted felltail can be cooked into Felltail Delight, which increases your stamina and spirit. You can also find pure golden darter schools in Terracar Forest, if you want to focus on just those darters as well. Bluefish schools can be found in Nagrand and Netherstorm, and fishing in these pools will give you ice fin bluefish, which can be cooked into poached bluefish, which increases your spell power. You can find another type of fish school in Netherstorm and Nagrand, and that is the mudfish school, which will give you Fig Luster's mudfish, which is used in crafting grilled mudfish, which increases your agility. You also have Highland Mixed School, which can only be found at 3 specific lakes in Terracar Forest that require flying to get to, and these are pretty much the only way to obtain Furious Crawdad, which can be used in crafting stamina food, plus you can fish up a nice companion up there as well. One more type of school is in Sangremarsh, where you can find steam pump flotsams around the steam pumps around the zone, and fishing here will give you different crates that you can open that can contain Outland materials. Last but not least, you will find the spots of pure water in Nagrand, where you can fish up motes of water, and even though motes of water can be randomly fished up from any pool while fishing, these pure water pools will give you up to 8 motes of water per pool, making it an absolutely insane resource for farming primal water. Before you go out and start hunting these pools, I would definitely recommend grabbing yourself the Weather-Beaten Journal, which teaches you the ability to find fish, so you can track fishing pools on your minimap, which will make this process a lot easier and faster. So one more semi-important piece of essential information for fishing in TBC is that there's a daily quest offered to you by Old Man Barlow at the lake just north of Shattrath City in Terracar Forest. This daily quest will be available to you at level 70, and I would also recommend having maxed out fishing, as some of these things you are required to catch can be quite difficult. For a full list of the daily quests as well as the rewards from them, I will leave a link to Warcraft Tavern's guide in the description of the video, but the one thing to take away from this is that the reward you get from the quest itself is a bag of fishing treasures, which can contain a couple of really valuable items, most of which are bound on pickup and fishing related, but you can also get some mote of water, shadow pearls, jaggle pearls, and last but not least the Eye of the Sea stamina gem, which can actually make you a lot of gold, and is why I really wanted to mention this as a part of the gold making guide, because that gem alone makes this daily quest definitely worth doing. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get into some fishing. So the first way to make gold, and probably the best way as well, will be to hunt for those pure water spots in Nagrand. For this, I would recommend having as high of a fishing skill as possible, preferably 375 skill, and using an aquadynamic fish attractor, or any lure to increase your fishing skill by 100, as well as using a fishing pole that also increases your fishing skill. Either way, when farming for these, your best options is to fly up and down the rivers of Nagrand, just like in this picture right here, and literally all you do is hunt for these pools of pure water. Doing this will give you a decent amount of motes of water, aka primal water per hour, and each single pool can give you up to 8 motes of water, if you are lucky, and so if you're able to grab quite a few of these pools, then this is going to be the most efficient way of farming primal water in TBC. Now, I did mention a couple of lakes were only accessible through flying in Outland, and I'll cover those a little bit more in depth here. So the lakes I'm referring to are these three. The two outer ones have mobs around them, while the one in the middle is a smaller lake with no hostile mobs around it, and to get here you need to have flying. These lakes are the only place you will find highland mixed schools in Outland, and you can fish up Furious Crawdad as well. If your fishing skill is high enough, you can also fish up Mr. Pinchy from here as well. Now, when it comes to the other types of fishing schools and fish, you have to ask yourself which type of fish will be the most in demand. To answer this question, you have to go back to the beginning of this video and look at what each fish can be cooked into, and what stats that cooked food gives. But here's how I'm thinking. DPS buffs have always been great, and with the meta shifts in TBC you will see a lot more hunters and a lot more casters. Figlusser's mudfish can be cooked into grilled mudfish, which increases your agility, which might then be wanted by hunters. For casters, however, you might be looking for either spell damage, spell crit, or spell hit, and the only type of fish that fit into either of these categories is the ice fin bluefish that can be cooked into poached bluefish, which increases your spell power, which might be wanted by those casters. There are a couple of other crafted food types that can give both attack power and spell hit rating, and maybe even spell crit rating as well, that will be even more wanted by both hunters and casters, but those will require meat farmed from beasts. But when it comes to fishing, these will be your best options. Personally, I'm going to hunt for those pure water pools in Nagrand for modes of water. However, I am expecting that farming strategy to be quite crowded and quite popular, so using something like the ice fin bluefish as a backup can be quite handy. At the launch of TBC, I expect there to be quite a few layers, which means more people can farm for these fishing pools without interrupting each other, as will be spread across multiple layers. But as we narrow down on the amount of layers, you will notice more and more competition, especially in Nagrand for those primal waters. All in all, fishing is a very nice profession to have in TBC for gold farming, especially if you don't want to level up an alt just for gold farming. And since fishing is a tertiary profession that everyone can pick up regardless of what their other professions are, just like first aid and cooking, that means literally anyone can grab fishing, and it's absolutely perfect for those of you who only plan to have one character in TBC, because that way you can still enjoy the benefits of, for example, being a blacksmith or a jewel crafter, without feeling like you have no way of farming gold when you need it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, remember to absolutely destroy that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and also make sure you subscribe for more TBC content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.